Center, Monday through Friday, between the hours of 8:30 to 4:30 at 451-2800 Extension 4. This has been your Agriculture Report. I am Viola Carson.
Today, this therapy is known as biodebridement or biosurgery. Records show that Mayan Indians, Australian Aborigines, American Civil War physicians, and modern medical professionals used flies for the healing of wounds. Some flies play an important role in pollination. In the marshes of the Morris River, a broadleaf plant called Aro arum or tuckahoe is an abundant species. This spade-shaped plant is dependent on a fly for pollination. And in a relationship commonly referred to as mutualism, the fly transmits a rust fungus to the plant. The fungus emits a floral scent that the fly feeds upon. The fungus provides a snack for the fly before the blossom opens. Thus the fly gets a meal and the plant gets pollinated. Why care? Well, the Aro arum is one of the plants with roots that hold the substrate of the marsh plain together in a mat. In turn, the marsh protects the upland in times of high water events and absorbs stormwater runoff. The plant removes toxins from the waters that replenish our aquifer. Even heavy metals are transformed. The marsh protects prized upland from erosion. Imagine that, all this from one tiny, uninvited guest, a fly.
See You on the Morris River is produced by Citizens United to protect the Morris River and its tributaries, and supported by CAS Music to build a greater awareness of the natural and cultural resources of the Morris River and the surrounding region. Please visit us at www.cumorrisriver.org.
This is your hometown radio station.
Really seems to be in touch with the heartbeat of the city.
1240 WSNJ.
That's my radio station. You leave it alone.
And I'm meteorologist Sean Rowland. Mostly cloudy skies continue with more occasional showers, maybe an isolated thunderstorm. High temperatures late in the day reaching 80 and still humid. Finally, the humidity lowers tonight. Mostly clear skies, lows in the upper 50s, maybe a little bit of fog. Friday, a beautiful day, mostly sunny, highs back to about 80. And then we have sunshine before the clouds move in on Saturday, maybe a late shower, mid to upper 70s. From the WSNJ Weather Center, this is meteorologist Sean Rowland.
The following is a paid political program. Now it's time for Voice of an Independent Nation. And here's your host, David W. Bowen.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you once again for tuning in to our show, The Voice of an Independent Nation. We have a couple things going on today, but before we get started, I'd like to give you the phone number in case you decide to call, 856-765-1240. Again, my name is David W. Bowen. The show we're talking about is predominantly a South Jersey political show. As you're well aware, I'm a candidate for Congress for District 2, South Jersey, running against Frank Lobiondo. I have a couple questions for you today that I'd like you to think about. If not, you can call in now and we'll discuss them on air. The first question is, how do you personally feel, or how do you feel about your business being taxed? Or how do you feel about paying additional taxes? Are you comfortable with that? Do you think more money should come out of your pay, your pocket, the pockets of your customers as they pay you to pay for government services that you are not using or that you can't use or shouldn't be even there to begin with? What do you think about that? Do you think we should be taxed more? I mean, there's a lot of things you have to think about with that. Yes, our taxes do pay for a lot of things, but I don't think spending on unnecessary things is important to us. They may be important to the special interest groups that tend to be out there and sponsoring our political leaders, but they have nothing for me. I don't want to pay any more taxes than I have to. I don't believe that It's a necessary function as far as paying the high taxes. It's not doing anything but stalling the economy. I've been preaching for several months now that I think taxes need to be lowered across the board, have a straight flat tax. There are a couple variables with that, but the tax is too high. When you have corporate tax almost 40%, as I said, it's like 39.6% high end, or you have personal income tax ranging from nothing, 0 to 20%. You know, that's just ridiculous. If we have a straight flat tax, and my proposal is between 18 and 20%, cut out the loopholes, I think the economy will start to grow. Why do I say that? It's because it's been done in the past. I mean, this is nothing new. Several economists will tell you, if you pay attention to them, that by cutting taxes stimulates everything and improves consumer confidence, and that's what we need. Investor confidence. We need to get going so people start investing the money that they're holding. Banks start lending. The banks have there's no initiative for them to loan to you, to start up a business, to loan to you for anything. You know, to buy a house, you have to have impeccable credit. This is we're just standing here still. When you got the GDP running at 1.3%, I mean, this is just ridiculous. Hold on, we got a caller. Hold on. Okay. No, we don't. Somebody playing with the phone, I guess. All right. How are you as far as taxes? Do you feel it's a good idea for the federal government to take money out of your pocket to pay for services that you cannot use, that you have no reason of using? I don't believe so. I believe that people don't want to have to pay any more than they have to. I'm not saying it's an entitlement. I'm sure you feel quite comfortable paying a little bit. I mean, it's not going to make or break you. But when it starts getting high, I don't think that we need to play around with our pocketbooks. Now, with that being said, I don't know if you're aware of it, but if you've been watching Lobiondo's commercials on TV or whatever, he's talking about taxes. What he's not telling you is he's already voted to raise taxes. And part of their plan, the Republican plan, is to raise additional taxes. Now, they say it's not on us, okay, but unless you're the top 3%, they openly admit they're going to raise your taxes. But what they're not telling you is there's other things they're going to do to raise your taxes. And if you're fine with paying more money, then there you go. You got your man. I personally am not fine paying additional taxes, and I don't want to pay. I just think it's unnecessary. What is your opinion? Are you comfortable with that? I don't think so. Let me know. Anyway, what about the women out there? Tell me about what you think as far as the government coming in and deciding what you can and can't do as far as going for medical. According to the Republicans, women automatically have a pre-existing condition, just the fact that there are women. Okay, I don't believe that. I just think you're entitled to health insurance and you're entitled to do what you need to do. Okay, my wife is the same thing. She goes to the doctor, you give your insurance card, bam, it's done, end of story. Same, you shouldn't be considered a second-class citizen because you're considered a pre-existing condition. I just think that's ridiculous, and they're just trying to create stuff that is nonsense. I mean, it's just people sitting around all day, too much to think about, not enough to do. And it's obvious by the way our economy is that they aren't doing it. You figure they were on a hiatus for 5 weeks. They come back for 2 weeks, and now they're going until after the election. I mean, I don't know about you, but it just seems ridiculous. We're supposed to be working. And my whole point is we need to get rid of all the incumbents in office, not just Lobiondo, but all the other ones in the area and all the ones nationally. If they just want to play around and waste our tax dollars and keep voting on the same thing, that's never going to get done, or try to create bills. The whole point is we have to cut government back. That's the whole point of the Constitution. I don't know if you've read the Constitution or understand it. Pick up a magazine that talks about it. Whatever your access is to the Constitution, you should try understanding it a little. It does limit the role of the government and puts most of the power in the hands of the people. Whatever federal government doesn't do, the states are supposed to pick up, but more importantly, the people are what's the key, okay? And even your congressman, the congressman I'm trying to be, he is at your mercy. He is not a celebrity. He's not a rock star. All he is your servant. He is there to do what you need him to do. And people need to realize that, okay? If he's not doing the job you want, get him out of there. The good and bad thing about Lo Biondo is he's been there for 18 years, okay? The good thing is we can determine what his voting record is. I know what his issues are, is what he keeps telling us they are, though they're not on his website. Check it out. It says the same thing across the board for every issue that's out there. What it doesn't do is tell you the truth, his voting record. You have to do some research on that. And with that, you're going to find he's voting against women, he's voting to raise taxes, he's voting against veterans, he's voting against your civil liberties. I mean, I don't know how much more everyone's willing to take. I mean, if it's not for the Democratic Party trying to do all the stuff that they're doing, you got the Republican Party trying to pat us on the back at the same time they're hurting us. You know, this just isn't right. I think that people need to do a little bit of research walking into this. I mean, yeah, if you're long-term Republicans, that's fine. If you're long-term Democrats, that's also fine. But look at who your candidates are. Lo Biondo's been in there for 18 years, and look at your environment. It's gone down. Companies are moving out. He's talking about getting jobs, but it's what the government's going to do. Frank Lo Biondo hasn't done anything to bring more jobs in. Okay? What he has done, the Next Gen Aviation down in, here in Millville, hey, it's been 7 years, 6 years, and they haven't even started building the place. Okay? Motorsports, I was under the impression that it was still in bankruptcy. I was wrong. It was in bankruptcy. It got out, but still. One thing I did find out, and I'm kind of curious about, is Stockton University, who does a lot of polls for Lo Biondo. They 3 years ago, got a loan for $225 million. With that loan, they also invested in Next Gen Aviation. Now, how did they get that loan? The thing is, okay, they don't know how they're going to pay for the loan. They're hoping on so many students per year, and with that, that'll pay for the loan. But what if the government stops giving money? They can't pay on that loan. So now something else we're responsible for. Not just $100 million for the motorsports thing that we signed off on, but $225 million for a university to invest. And the thing is, it was a dummy corporation that invested the money. It wasn't even Stockton College. It was a dummy corporation set up by them to invest the money. And they bought different things, part of which was Next Gen Aviation. They invested in it. Now, it seems kind of strange to me, but a lot of things with Lo Biondo seem strange. I'm not saying how much influence he had in this. I'm just saying it seems very, very iffy, and I think we need to investigate a little bit more. He walks around with a smile on his face, but he's not that kind-hearted gentleman everyone seems to think. He got an evil side, I believe. And I'm not trying to say that as far as negative campaigning. I'm saying that because everything is what's fact out there. All right, the next question I have is for the veterans. Tell me how you feel about the situation when you become ill. You have to jump on a bus and you have to drive all the way to Wilmington or Philadelphia in the bus to the hospital. I don't know about you, but I would find that very uncomfortable. I don't see the point of having to travel so far when we got hospitals right down the street. We got some of the nicest hospitals right down the street. And it's just not necessary. You know, we're wasting taxpayer dollars by doing all this. We need to revamp a lot of these systems. Okay, it's what I'm saying. Medicare, excellent service. Okay, a lot of people don't complain so much about the service. What they do complain about is being jerked around because this is happening or that's happening. I don't think we need to adjust the services. What I think we need to do is restructure how the services are accommodated, cut down on double billing from hospitals, because, you know, I don't know if you're familiar with it. They got people in the billing office, and they'll send you a new bill every month, and then when it comes down, you got to pay, and then you get a bill a month later saying you didn't pay the bill, and you have to prove all your records. Now, their bookkeeping system is just screwed up. And then if by chance, and you know this for a fact, that a lot of these medical facilities change hands every couple of years, a new billing system comes into play, and now you're getting billed by two different companies. And if you're not careful, one of them could show up on your credit report. And that's a couple other things. All right, one of the things, I don't know if you guys paid attention to the debate last evening, but one of the things they touched the base about was education. Students, what do you feel your education is like? One thing I've noticed is high school students coming out of high school. Some of them have done so poorly getting into the university, they have to take remedial classes just to get in. Now, I don't know about you, but I thought that's what high school was set up to do, is just a continuation in your studies. But no, to go to college, now you have to take remedial classes or classes just to catch up. Now, where did we drop the ball here? You know, I'm kind of confused there. And I think some of you could be too. I mean, just recently, my daughter was getting into college. And they told her she was lacking in a couple classes. Now, my daughter was on honor roll for a period of time. And I don't understand how she was lacking some classes to get into college. And to me, it seems kind of peculiar. But another thing is the cost of colleges have gone up. It seems like the more money the government gives them, the higher their tuition goes up, because they feel you still need to pay a certain portion. And yes, I do think the government needs to invest in our students. And that's part of my educational platform. I think it's a two-part thing. We need to correct some issues today, but we also need to correct some issues long-term, meaning change the standards at which we teach our students, not that they come out of high school and they can't get into college because they're not prepared. We need to start from pre-K, or like in my neighborhood, pre-pre-K, and then you just keep going, and you got to keep motivating these kids, and you need to take care of the teachers that are good, but you need to get rid of the teachers that aren't. And I'm not just talking about a parent who's having a complaint against a certain teacher because they said something wrong to their kid. I'm talking about their performance. You know, if you have a school that's going downhill, not only do we need to correct the teachers, but we need to get rid of management of the school system. And we need to make sure, but more importantly, we need to make sure these schools have money to take care of what they need to. You know, sometimes you have a great teacher who can't perform because there's no money for the products that she needs or he needs, specifically new books or stuff. Now they're talking about making everything electronic, which in my school system they already do. And I think that's very key. Education is very, very important, and we need to stimulate and we need to accommodate the educational system. I personally went to private school, so I didn't have that issue. I had everything that I needed. And unfortunately, not everybody has that opportunity, and I do believe that to succeed in the world, America needs to start concentrating on what we're coming. But the key thing is we need to start pushing for maths and science. And something new just came to my attention that I think is very key. Also, technology. The electronic devices is very key. We need to have people who are capable of developing the new Steve Jobs of the world. We need more of them. to people who can go on and invent things that keep going. Those TVs like they use on Mission Impossible or whatever. That stuff's all fascinating. It's technology that's out there, but we need to keep working on that. And I think we do that not by doing as we're doing now and cutting funding, because it seems like education, just like Medicare, just like Social Security, they're the three things that they want to cut money off right off the bat. But defense keeps going up. Now, I'm all for 100% defending our country, but I don't see that it's necessary to go out there and waste money on unnecessary wars. Afghanistan was a complete waste of time. It's not doing anything. And they didn't attack us. Now we're having a problem with Iran. Okay, what's your opinion with Iran? My opinion is I think the country's going to fold in. And that's the whole point. The government isn't aware of what the president's doing, because keep in mind, the president of Iran is not the main decider. Okay, you still have the Ayatollah. He's the guy who decides everything. The president has some control, but not that much. And come June, he's out of there anyway. So they're not so worried about them. In the meantime, what they're going to do is they're going to bring down the economy. They're going to cause the same issues there as Greece is having, as Spain is having. The people that run the United States government has a way of controlling other things as well. And I think that's going to happen, and it's going to force them to do what we need to do. What hurts is like if you have a place like Cuba where the government's trying to control a certain situation, and you have people coming behind us like the Chinese who loan Cuba and give Cuba free money just because. The Chinese are undermining us, and that is hurting our efforts. We're trying to accomplish something here. Cuba used to be our friend. Castro went a little haywire with that, and I know a little bit of what I'm talking about with this because my father-in-law's from Cuba. Okay? My wife is Cuban. So, with that being said, let's go on to a couple other things. I do believe that we need to concentrate on growth. Right now we're stagnant at 1.3% GDP. We need to change some things. Okay? We need to start creating pacts with other countries for mercantile, exchanging import-export kind of thing. With that'll open up a lot of new avenues. I would hope that someday during my lifetime that Cuba opens up, because I'd love to go down there. Though we can go down there. I can, my wife can. It's difficult for everybody else, but it used to be very beautiful. Now it's highly depressed. We open up those avenues, all these countries can become very, very wonderful to visit, to enjoy. And I think once we get past all these turmoils and everything, that we can open up. But we have to have that level of understanding and that pact that connects us to where we have equal say in what's going on. I don't know what you guys are thinking about that. Some of you like to travel. If you're anything like my wife, travel is very important, and it's very key to the economies of the areas you'd go to travel in. I personally like the Caribbean, but my family itself is from Ireland. So anyway, we're coming down to the last few minutes. Any calls, don't hesitate to call in. There are some things that we're going to address in the upcoming weeks. Don't hesitate to contact us during that time. Our website is davidwbowen.com, or you can email us at Bowen, 4, Congress @gmail.com. All right, there's things going on right now. I don't know how much you've paid attention to the debates as far as Romney and Obama. It seemed like Romney did a pretty good job last night, which was applaudable but surprising at the same time, if you can understand that. As you know, I'm running independent, so I'm neither Democrat or Republican. I think Obama is playing with Romney, though. I think Obama has a couple tricks up his sleeve, and I think we'll find out in the next couple weeks. The next debate is between the vice presidents, I believe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think that's going to be interesting because I think Biden likes to talk a little too much. But anyway, it was a pleasure speaking with you guys. Listen in weekly, and we'll go on from there. Have a good day.
You've been listening to Voice of an Independent Nation with David W. Bowen. The program is a paid political program.
No one intervened on behalf.
Are you out of WSNJ's coverage area? If so, check us out online at WSNJAM.com. Now streaming to all computers, both Mac and PC, as well as smartphones. Just go to WSNJAM.com, click the Listen Live link, and you are connected.
Hello, everyone. This is George Moore inviting you to join me and the entire Sportsman's Hotline gang every Friday night, 5